All right, all right, all right. Good evening. Good evening. I suppose most of the people here are currently in Kampala. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see you again. Oh, yeah, Ronald, you're right here in Bugolobi. Nice to hear from you. Nice to see you again. I'm so happy and delighted that you guys are joining us this evening. This has been very anticipated by various people, so I'm glad that you are here on time. It's exactly 7 p.m. It's always a principle to keep it on time when it comes to these things. It says a lot about yourself. So for those that are here for the first time, I don't know, do we have anyone that is here for the first time? Do we have anyone here for the first time? You can just either put up your hand or something. Do we have anyone that is joining us for the first time? Okay, so most of the people here already have been members, but kicking it right off. Just as a reminder, Borawatu is a space of mentors and mentees that have set to a mission that we understand we have a problem in our country, and the problem has a lot to do with passing on knowledge. Those who have been there already know. So they have that side, and those that are coming up don't have that same access to those people. So the reason why we started Borawatu was to bridge that gap, that the people who have already made it and have been successful, and the people who are really starting out, they don't know exactly how to get things started. So that is exactly why we are here. We are a community of mentors and mentees that are dedicated to bridging the gap for people that are setting out in life and they're looking for who has been there. How can I cut short the learning process? Okay. So every time you see us here every Thursday, we are trying to bridge that gap. And how we are bridging that gap, we are bringing three things to the table: the community. Everything that you see here, there are a bunch of amazing people in this community. The community is what we are bringing. The second thing is that we're bringing the right information. Okay. On top of the right information, you're getting the right people. Now, think about the kind of mentors that perhaps that you have in mind that you've always wanted to reach out to. Okay, I often say that there are so many rich people in our country. There are so many successful people, but they are successful with themselves. However, passing on that knowledge is a completely different thing. We have so many rich people, so many successful people, but teaching the next person, okay, there are not very many platforms that allow for that duplication to happen on to the next person, okay. So Borawatu is, in essence, that is the cover up of what exactly we are trying to do. We do various things in this space here, and of course we have one of the things that we have a self mastery program. As of course time goes on, you we shall go into it towards the end of the call, and as well we have a community of readers, people who are interested in capturing the essence of what has been documented in these books. We don't want to live up to the adage that has been long sung that if you want to hide knowledge from Africans, put it into books. We're in an era where we even have the internet. We can access most of these things. But most of all, I'm proud of the community that we have created here. Amazing, amazing people, people who are learners. And it's because of this community that I am excited and happy to introduce the person that is going to be taking us through his journey. This gentleman, I have known him, I think, Eddie, how long has it been?
Around 6 years, probably around there.
Around 6 years, yes. You get closer to that microphone such that we can hear you very well. Can you imagine 6 years, almost more than 5 years? That is quite something. But beyond that, I've grown to see this person take on various challenges and of course overcome them. And of course, Eddie, perhaps I've never told you this, that I'm glad and happy the way you handled the first time that you became a father. I was really happy for you. I witnessed you step up. And, you know, I remember how that thing was, but
Cra-
you stepped up and you were right
Crazy,
in
crazy.
there and you took it on as a young man and you owned it up. And today, the person that you have become today, I'm really proud of you and I'm excited for the type of man that you are becoming. So, this story of yours, I'm really happy. And of course, this is being recorded. We are documenting it because I'm very interested in understanding, or we are interested in understanding How do you keep up? Because as a young father, you have kept all these things going around. You have two children, you have a wife, you have a home, you have a job. All these things, juggling them at a young age is not easy at all. But for some reason, when we see you from the outside, you seem that you're managing. Okay. If it is a book club that starts at about 7, you are there. I mean, probably there are so many other things that you would be rather be doing, but you make the time. So the subject of destroying excuses, I am really happy to hear a lot from that. But ladies and gentlemen, Edgar right here works with, he's an accountant. And of course, you've already seen his profile. He's a business person. He's someone who is interested. We have had so many conversations with Eddie about how can we add value to our country, Uganda? What can we do? Okay. And on top, of course, being in investment together, we have traveled together. It's been an amazing experience. I'm glad that you are here on the call today. So right off the bat, Eddie, just say hello to the people. Let's let them hear from you.
Hello, everyone. Edgar Agaba in the flesh. Very excited to be here, Steve, to share my story. We've come a long way. Get in. I hope I'm clear and loud enough.
Yeah, you are clear.
All right, I can't wait to get into this session. It's exciting sharing a snippet of my journey. I just can't wait. Thank you, Steve.
Awesome. So yeah, looking at Journey, how life has been for you. I'm particularly interested in. We will have a discussion of how exactly this has been for you, and we'll tackle various topics. Feel free to just share and go as deep as you can. Usually, for those who are listening in for the first time, the reason why we came up with leaders in the making that is that we recognize people who are on this journey or path of self improvement. And of course, Eddie, you might not know my full story, but once upon a time, I also started when I had nothing. I had never read a book, just out of university with a bachelor's degree, and looked for jobs and nothing. And it's almost, I don't know, maybe there are people who understand that, you know, you can get out and do the things that you are told to do. And once you're done, then you don't get the result. So you're faced with an option of facing with yourself that maybe, should I try this? Should I try that? So, Eddie, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what life looked like before you began the journey of self improvement?
Thank you once again. I welcome everyone on this session. Thank you for making your time. Uh, my name is Agaba Edgar Rubarema. Yeah, and I'm a father of two, a girl who's turning 3 next month, and a very young baby boy who's 4 months and a half, and a husband to one lady, biological woman. You know, she's a biological.
Let's not get it
These
confused.
days, these days you have to give. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
know about
She's a
that. Yeah.
yeah, she's a biological woman, and yeah, I'm an accountant by profession. Who didn't like their profession starting the journey, but later on loved what they do. I ventured into finance and financial markets and business analysis and things rotating around finance. You know, I'm the guy to go to. What do I love to do? I love traveling. We've traveled together with Steve. We've traveled in a number of places. We've been to so many places. I love traveling. I love adventure. I'm the guy you call back in the days. You give a call, Eddie, tomorrow we're here. Can we go? And I'll be like, sure thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure thing. You know, yeah, I've done my fair share of traveling around the country. Not so much, but yeah. I love sports. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I love working out. I love feeding well. And that in a nutshell, I would say that is why I'm big on family. I'm big on family. Yeah, I'm a believer in family and Africanicity. You know, the man and the woman and things like that. So that is a little bit of who I am and what I stand for. And you said the other question was
Uh, the,
how
the,
life.
Yeah, the question was how life looked like before you began your journey to self improvement. Most of the people on this call are trying to make to have their lives be different from where they are coming from, and the year has just started. So usually we try to hear into other people's stories to pick up a few things that we identify with them, within ourselves, that we find a way to tackle that.
Yeah, so I'll dive right into how life was before I started this journey. Well, I think if I remember very well, I have about three things that described my life, and one of them was I had an identity crisis. What do I mean by I had an identity crisis? Back in the days, I started this journey about 6 years ago, right around the time I think I met you, Steve. That was just about the season I started the journey of self improvement. I struggled so much with identity crisis. I wasn't sure of who I was, and I know many young people struggle with this, and it's hard to get ahead in life if you do not know who you are. I didn't know what I truly loved in life. I didn't know what I truly wanted to become. Forget what our parents impose on us. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to I don't know, to be a lawyer and a doctor. Those were my parents' wishes. I didn't know who I wanted to become. I didn't know who I was. Okay. I somehow knew that inside of me there was so much potential, but I didn't know how to unravel that potential. There
Mm,
was so much fog in my mind. I had the drive, I had the zeal, but I was entangled in chaos. Up here, there's so much chaos. My goals were not clear. I could not tell you in 5 years I want to be here and right here. I didn't have strategies to get me to where I wanted to be. It was completely chaos. It was complete chaos. And it was one of the things that really disturbed me the most. On how do I move on from this level to the next level. I know I wanted to go to the next level, but how do I move? So those were my challenges before I started this journey, Steve.
awesome, awesome, awesome. I like to hear that. Of course, I think those are some of the things I personally also identify with. At a young age, they say that your personality is created by the time you age 7, and most of the time you're building on top of that. So I can definitely understand. Do you have a particular moment or experience that made you realize you wanted to change maybe the status quo? Can you pinpoint an experience or moment back then?
Uh, I cannot come to a specific moment, but maybe a season. And again, all of this is going to rotate around the time we met, Steve.
Yeah,
That's where my life sort of like, did a turning point. So that season when we had just met, I remember it was around the times of Wild Ventures.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Wild
yeah.
Ventures. This was Wild Ventures was a networking company that sold travel, and oh my, did I love travel, and did everyone on the in the company love travel, and I still love travel. But World Ventures required a certain level of mental clarity and tenacity. All right, it was not simply yes, come go and sell this. No, it was more of once you come, you need to change your mind. You need to change how you think. You need to change how you look at things. You need to change how you see your problems, and that's when it hit me, and I was like, wait a minute. So I think I need to change who I am to actually get to where I need to be. So basically, what helped me was the community I had at World Ventures, Steve, Shaban, and all our leaders back then. Jackie. By then she was our leader, and amazing Hadassah,
Mm,
amazing people that,
mm.
that that really pushed me to realize that you really need to become a different kind of person for you to
Yeah.
actually even have an opportunity to reaching your goals, and that was around the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, yeah, I can completely understand with the time back then. the space required you to have a mind that is really tuned to survive in it. So I can definitely
Yeah.
understand. In those early stages, did you have any specific goals, perhaps that you had wanted to achieve at that particular moment, especially when you had just begun the journey to self improvement? Were there any values or goals that you were chasing at the time?
Yeah, basically, I'd always wanted to be, from way back, I'd always wanted to be above average.
Mm,
I've never wanted to be an average citizen, an average father, an average friend. So I had that value, that need in me to want to be more than average.
mm,
I wanted to be more than just any other normal person living any other ordinary life. And
mm.
when I got into that atmosphere full of extraordinary people, I could
Yeah,
see the possibility. I could see
yeah,
the possibility of actually living extraordinary lives.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have to be a billionaire to live an extraordinary life. It starts in the mind, and
yeah.
that's where it all started. And that was one of my most important goals. And I just wanted to also be more accountable.
Mm,
I'd wanted to be more accountable. Growing up, you would hear stories. The government has done this. This one has done this.
yeah,
You throwing blame everywhere. There's blame, and like, so you mean if I come late to work, jam. It was never about the person. I just thought being a better person, being a better accountable partner, a better accountable person, would help me, get better at, achieving my goals. So those are my initial
yeah.
drivers.
Yeah, speaking of extraordinary, at the time, my first introduction to high performing people, the initial fear was, I don't know if I belong with these people. They seem to be way, way ahead of me. Did you face any doubts or fears on this journey of self improvement? And how exactly did you overcome them back then?
Yeah, definitely I faced doubts and fears. First of all was, am I cut out for this? I mean, people are telling you, I wake up at 5 a.m., read 3 pages of a book before 6 a.m., go
Yep.
hit the shower, go for a workout before 7 a.m., then report to office or before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
while handling a family. It was crazy. So can, can I do this? Am I cut out for this kind of life? So
Mm,
there was fear. Maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe I wouldn't achieve this. And secondly was the fear of, you know of getting into uh
water.
uncharted uncharted places. If Was it a guarantee that if I changed who I am, was it a guarantee to success?
Mm,
you know there
mm,
were there were such doubts of, is it, if I change the person I am right now, is it that a guarantee I'm gonna get to success? And those were my fears, starting this journey. And how I overcome is I stuck around.
mm,
I
mm.
just stuck around. I just stuck around the people. I stuck around the community. I stuck around the fire, and that helped me push past my fears. Helped me learn how to thrive and survive and become a better person and set. And my whole life changed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like what you've just said there. You stuck around the fire. It's been so many years since the last time I had something like that. Staying close to the fire. If you go far away from it, you're going. If you go away from the fireplace, you're going to get cold. Thank you for reminding me
You
that.
lose it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
speaking of obstacles and building resilience, we're just going to take on top of the fears that you faced in that journey when you're beginning, because most of us, we are human, and while we think that perhaps our challenges are unique, there are definitely other people facing the same things. So what are some of the hardest challenges that you encountered at the beginning, especially at that point where you know that I want to change my life? If you can give us a practical example of that this was really hard for me to overcome. I know I want to change to become this type of person, but this one, I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Uh, uh, a number of challenges I definitely faced starting the journey. I'll start with the obvious ones, and I'll go deeper as I proceed. One of them was, and most of them feed into each other. One of them was discipline. Up to now, I'm not going to say I'm 100% perfect, but I would say I am way 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 better than I was 6 years ago when it comes to discipline. Discipline means following up with what you told yourself you would do. That was a big challenge. That was a big challenge. Staying consistent. If I say, you know what, I'm going to reduce my phone usage, let's say to 5 hours a day, I would do worse the following day. I would do it today, and tomorrow I would just go overboard. I had discipline issues. I would not stick to one thing. I was basically I had discipline issues. I was very inconsistent with everything I was doing. Uh, let's say, should I talk about maybe alcohol? I wanted to quit alcohol. I'd started drinking alcohol around that time after my senior six. I started the journey of alcohol, and my oh my, it hasn't been an easy ride. It hasn't been an easy ride. You wake up today and you're like, I'm done with this. It's done. The next weekend, your boys call you and mwah, you're back, and you don't even know your way back home. So basically, discipline, and maybe the other challenge I had was a routine. I didn't know that you had to have a routine. Having a routine makes your life flawless.
Yeah.
You know, having a routine just made everything hard for me. It means I was available to everyone who called me. It means I was available to every temptation that came my way. I was just all over the place. I was just, however much I wanted to be great, I didn't have the systems that would put me down and set me up for success. So basically, discipline. I had no routine. I had no attention and focus. I never focused on one thing. It was, here you're here today. You're selling this. The other day you're the other side. Today you're
Mm,
chilling with this one. The other day you. I was all over the place. And that one way or the other ate my time up. And ate my energy and kept me at that stage for way too long. So yeah, I
mm,
think
mm.
basically those of the terms I would use, but those terms cover a lot that I was struggling with. For example, alcohol, and accountability and things like that. Yeah.
Mm. I like that you mentioned that obstacle of not having systems in your life. That's something
Yeah.
most people don't even think about. Having a system like for you just living life on whatever comes, whatever comes. But speaking of systems, systems require you to be self accountable. What are some of the things that motivated you when things got tough? You're trying to keep up with this new system or routine, but it's not easy to pick up a
Mhm.
new habit so quickly. What are some of the things that helped you stay motivated when things got tough? Like, how did you keep going?
How did I keep going? Well, I would say one of the best things that kept me motivated, even in the early stages of this journey, was staying close to the fire, Steve. Having you guys around, having you guys around really did a lot in my life, and sparked a fire in me that just kept burning, and to this day, and I've stayed close, just because I decided to stay closer to the fire. It
Mm,
was not always, it was one day, Steve, would be doing this, I would see people doing that, and people are getting busy, people are getting serious with their life. Steve, you yourself, you had so much going on in your life. You're starting companies, you're being creative, you're adding value. Yes, you would have a little time to have fun here and there, but you sort of had systems in place that sort of brought you back to,
yeah.
brought you back, of course, every time you felt like you were wondering. And me being a newbie in this really really kept reminding me that you can, just you can. Today you failed. Okay, this month you failed. Try again next month, maybe. It is possible. It is being done. The likes of
Mm,
Shaban, the type of lifestyle and mentality that you guys had. It just, I just had to be one of you. I just had to get the same, just being around you guys, and that has been one of my greatest, I could say, greatest reasons as to why I'm here. Just people around and the company. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, we're using the phrase "staying close to the fire." For someone that is listening, that phrase the first time, what are some of the examples of staying close to the fire? I know it's a metaphor for the closer you are to the fire, you don't lose the heat. You're more warmer when you're closer to the fire. But in this metaphor, what exactly does staying close to the fire might look like? What are some of the activities one is doing to
Well,
stay close?
well, definitely staying close to the fire means being a part of that community. You have to be a part of that community. You have to know what's going on. You have to be, for example, we were in various similar WhatsApp groups. You knew what was happening. The likes of Andrew, whenever there was a teaching, a training that was up about, you would know about it and you would go and attend that training. You would see so
Mm,
many testimonies. You would see how people are living their lives. You would learn
yeah,
from other people's systems. Because you are closer to them, you would have more of a front seat at people's lives who are making it in life. So
yeah,
basically, staying close to the fire is staying close to the people who have what you want in life.
yeah, yeah,
Staying close to the community which
yeah,
is going in the direction of where you want your life to go.
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
basically basically just staying around and keeping company. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So most
Yeah.
times I usually tell people, if you don't know what to do, find someone who knows what to do and just copy what they are doing. I think that might be an example of
Just
staying close to the fire. So Eddie, if we can look at things that you have discovered along this journey, maybe some of the lessons as well that you have learned. What have you discovered
yeah.
about yourself? You yourself, what have you discovered about yourself on this whole journey?
I've discovered a number of things, about two or three things, and one of them is that I am a very compassionate person. What do I mean? I feel for other people that have gone through the struggles I've gone through, or people that have even made it in life, because I've learned that not all that glitters is gold. People have a lot of scars behind the successes. So I have learned to respect the process, and that has made me so have empathy. Even when I see someone who's made it in life, I know it hasn't been easy for them. One of those people has been probably my fathers, my father, my uncles. I see them in a different way now, because having gone through the process just a little bit, I now have more respect and I feel more for them. I feel more for people. I feel more for people who are below me, students, people who have just finished school, because probably they do not know where to start from, they do not know where to go, they are confused, they don't know who they are. I've discovered I have so much empathy for these people, and that leads me to my next point. I've discovered I want to help these people, especially people who a little bit ahead of, a little bit, experienced more than in these type of things, in these matters of life. I want to be able to help. I usually work with the Secretariat of the Patriotism Secretariat with the President's Office, where we go in a number of schools, and we sort of enlighten these students and pupils, and we try to give them a hint on what is out there in the world. So I've learned that the best way you can make a change is give the knowledge you have acquired to someone else, and maybe they have a chance at being better people. Maybe they have a chance at doing an impact in their world. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
maybe one other thing is I've discovered that I love leading.
Mm,
I love leading. I find myself in leadership positions, and not because I want to be the leader. I just want to show people how to do things a certain way.
mm,
Because I understand understand the primary concept of a leader is service.
Yeah.
So I feel like show people how to do things not from above but from below. You actually do, and then they follow. So basically, those are some of the things that I've discovered about myself along this journey.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eddie, for that. I will interject a little bit with someone asked a question here. Who is someone that you look up to?
Well, I have my uncle. One of my uncles called he's called Uncle Boaz. I think he was supposed to be on this call. I don't think he made it, but he's one of the people that I look up to on because basically I've seen his journey from where he's come from the kind of man he was ever since he was a young man to the kind of man he is right now in his early 40s. And he's the kind of man whom I look up to, and I'm like, I want to be like him. I look up to my dad.
Mm,
He's been an amazing, amazing, amazing man, and he has showed me what it means to be a father, to be a man, and basically to do what you have to do regardless of the odds. You as a
mm,
man have got to do certain things a certain way. No
mm.
excuse. Those are my top two people that I look at in my life, and I aspire to be like or be better than you are given the grace and opportunity.
I get the sense that you come from a family with many men. So, would you say, and I like what you said, that looking at them, you have a practical example, people you look up to. I'm wondering if someone doesn't have the same example as you, the type of leadership where you have, for example, the question that Rhoda has just asked you here, who do you look up to? And from the family that you have just laid out here, you have these strong personalities in your life that you look up to. For someone who doesn't have that, I can tell me as an example where I come from. I come from Kawempe. Kawempe is a whole different atmosphere. You guys don't know Kawempe like I know Kawempe. Whole different atmosphere. So, for someone that is in such an environment where you don't have people to look up to, how would you advise them to go about that?
Well, for beginners, for starters, get a community and start from there. Just get a community of like-minded people, or people you feel are better than you and you would like to associate. Get yourself into that community and start from there. There will be people that will stand out in that community, and you will pick examples from them, and they might offer to even be your mentors,
Mm,
personal mentors. And that's if you approach them. And there are endless possibilities once you have a community that falls within your vision and your goals, and you just are part of that community. That's the best place to start from. For example, a community like Borawatu, amazing, amazing, amazing people on
mm,
this platform.
mm, mm.
So basically, just be a part of a community, and you will get your person. You will get your
Yeah.
person that you can draw inspiration from, and the rest will be history.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm just going to get a little bit personal here with you. Knowing how I know you, I'm curious about your journey to fatherhood and as a husband as well. At a young age, currently we have. It might be a global thing or a national thing, but maybe a global thing. Birth rates are going down. People are not committing into relationships, not going into marriage. They are not giving birth to children. For one reason or another, they have their various excuses or maybe perhaps real valid reasons. I'm curious, you as a young father at the time you had your daughter, how was that experience for you? Did you figure your life would be like this at the time? How did you approach it?
Well, I don't know if I've told you that story, Steve. You must have a clue.
No, 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 I have no clue.
uh, well, in some of the questions you sent me, it was actually going to be one of my examples under the question of when I felt like giving up. All right, so I'm gonna answer that together with this.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, being honest right from the top is I've always wanted to be a dad. I've always wanted to be a father because I've always believed in family, even at a young age. I've always believed in family. Even my exes know we were dating for marriage. It was always dating for for something. So why? I wanted kids. I wanted to start a family. I liked the idea. In my head. It was amazing, amazing. So yeah, I get my woman. Yeah, we date. We get acquainted with each other. Yes, yes, yes. Boom. 1 year down the road, she gets pregnant. It was totally not planned for. So yeah, I told her, yeah, I think I'm ready to be a dad. I think I'm ready. I love children. Come on, I'm ready to be a dad. I love children. Like, you're sure? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 without a doubt. So yeah, we go on and fast forward a couple of months down the road, a beautiful baby girl comes bouncing. I thank God for that. And immediately, right from the hospital, you pay the bill, you're back home. Immediately, right after that hospital day, I now have mixed emotions. I couldn't believe that morning or the previous morning we left when we were two people, we came back three people. And now it was a question of, okay,
Eddie?
of how dad and my uncles,
Yeah.
so the bar was a bit high. So
Mm.
I was like, okay, what happens? What steps do I take on from here? How do I provide for them, protect for them, protect my family? How do I set a vision that is going to work out for my family? How do I be present, be a present dad? How do I be a present husband to my wife? So many ideologies out there on social media, where men do what they want. The man is the king of the jungle, and I wanted to break that. I didn't want to be the king of the jungle. I wanted to be a partner to my wife. But there was domestication in my mind that the man is the king of the jungle. So how do I balance all this? And how I lost it. I remember a few days after my hospital, a few days after the girl was born, I went on a trip. I went on a trip for a week. And I was with you, Steve. Crazy. I went on a trip. I just said, I can't deal with this. You know what, woman? Bye.
Mm.
I couldn't do it. I went on a trip for a week. Bye. I can't do this. I came back from the trip 1 week later, and I'm like, okay, now, and the woman was looking at me all this time and wondering what's going on in this guy's head. Like, what's going on? I thought he wanted the child. I thought he was ready for this, but my oh my, I don't think I was ready. so so months go by. I recessed. I recessed. I went back to my old ways, went back to alcohol. I think, Steve, you remember that period. I never wanted to go back home, because I was scared. It was a scary experience. I didn't know how to show up as a father. And I just feel such platforms are really important. We need to bring fathers on board to teach young fathers, to teach young men, how do you show up as a father? How do you prepare for that season? I really feel it is important. It was crazy. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't call anyone and tell them this is what I'm going through. I had to stand as a man and fight it. Steve, I might not have told you, but I think I found some other men that that had issues with their families. These were old men, way older than me, and they had a man cave where they would go and spend days. We would cook posho and goat's meat. We would cook posho and goat's meat and just sit and buy beers from Friday, Saturday through Sunday, and I'll go back home on Monday. And my wife was really perturbed. She I really appreciate that woman. If she ever sees this, I really want to tell her that I appreciate you for being patient with me. But that was the time for her. That was the time for her to jump ship. That would have been the perfect time for her to jump ship because I became a mess. How can a man that had started their journey to self improvement, that really was promising, all of a sudden do a 180 and just go back to everything he's been trying to run away from? So that was a crazy moment, and it went on for about a year. Yeah, it went on for about one fucking year. Sorry for the language, but all this time, Steve, I think we stayed together. I stayed around my people. I stayed around the people that I looked up to, and I was like, man, I think at the end of the day, you have your own struggles. I would show up to Steve. How you doing? Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm holding up. I'm holding up. But I wasn't holding up. I was not holding up. So I stuck around, and I thank God that somehow, maybe the fact that I also had God in my life, being a Christian, helped me come back on course, and decided to get out of that trance that I'd gotten myself into,
Yeah.
and yeah, get back, and I got back on course. Started working afresh on myself, and yeah, it's been good stuff on from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm imagining the example that you have for yourself. There are many people who have given up along the way. Yeah, I can only imagine it must be a terrifying experience. Now, like you gave an example, you left when you're two in the house, you came back and you're three people, and you're looking at this new person who is looking up to you as well. And of course, like I know about that disappearing for a week, and for some they don't come back, and perhaps maybe there's a young father on the call that might be listening to your story. What would be your advice to them that yes, I do understand the situation, and but how exactly should they deal with it, because most people jump ship, as you know.
I think what I forgot to tell you was I was going through all this, but I had a crystal clear image of who I really wanted to be. Because after I started that journey with you guys, Steve, I got some clarity, and I knew who the kind of person I wanted to be. I even wrote down some of these things. If you check my notebooks of 4 or 5 years ago, you'll find some of these things. The kind of man I wanted to be, the kind of husband I wanted to be, the kind of
Mm,
father. I had written them down because I had learned on this journey that you had to write down things. You don't just have things in your head, you put them on paper, they become clearer as you write them. So I had a clear image of who I wanted to be, and that sort of always helped bring me back on, hey, this is not the kind of, you're doing this, but this is not the kind of person you want to be. Fast forward 2 years from now, if you continue with this, you're going to be in a far worse place than you would have been. So the first and foremost is envision the person you want to be. It should be crystal clear. Envision the kind of father you want to be. You want to be a present father, a caring father, a graceful, a loving father. Write down those things. You envision the kind of partner you want to be. You want to be a present partner, an understanding partner, a helpful partner. Write down those things, so that even when you go off track, you are sure by how many degrees you've gone off track.
yeah.
Every time I was out partying, there was a guilt that was eating me up. I'm not supposed to be out late. I'm supposed to be with my family. I'm supposed to be
Mm, mm, mm,
right
mm.
now. Who's there to protect? So it was clear for me on who I wanted to be and what I wanted to be. So number one is envision the kind of person you want to be and write it down. It should be crystal clear. It might change as you grow, but write it down. Number two, I would say the company you keep your destiny. The company you keep defines your destiny. We used to say a certain saying back in at campus: iron sharpens iron. I mean, just keeping around the people that had a certain mentality, I would feel bad that why am I reasoning like my friend here? Why am I doing things like Steve does them? Why am I doing things like she does them? I think I'm going a little bit astray here. I think I should correct myself
Mm.
because I had clear examples around me
Yeah.
on what to do. And then number three is just don't quit, man. Just don't quit. I didn't give up. You shouldn't give up on anything that you've started. And yeah, the
Yeah.
rest would be history.
Did it ever feel like maybe you're not doing it right? There's always a fear whenever you embark on a new project, and of course now raising a child, that is a whole other project. It could be a business, could be maybe a type of job that you're doing. There's a bit of a fear of perfection. I can only imagine having a daughter. You want things to be right because there's someone's life on the balance here. uh, how did you overcome that part where I don't know if I'm doing this the right way, but I hope I'm doing it the right way, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, the answer is in the reason why we're having this Zoom call. I mean, self improvement. That has been my answer for a number of my problems in my life. Because once you have properly improved yourself, you have improved your character, you've improved your personality, then it simply means you're gonna pass on what you want to pass on to your children in the right manner. All right. So being on the journey has helped me see through my traumas, has helped me see through the bad domestication values that would have that happened to me, and things that I didn't want my children to get into, and just basically being on a journey of self-improvement solves almost 99% of all the problems that we face as young people, because once you focus on yourself and focus on being a better person, it
Mm,
simply translates to you being a better person for your family, for your children, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So basically, I think it's the single most important thing that really helped me know that
Mm,
I am on the right track. Yes, there are doubts sometimes on how you treat you, but you can never be perfect. But at least you have to be above 80 or 90% on track.
mm.
The 10% can always be for God and for mistakes, and we all make mistakes, but yeah, like that's what
Yeah.
I feel.
I would like to say congratulations because I saw your daughter started school 3 years now. So it started school. So congratulations to that.
Thank you. Thank
And of course, going into this segment of a life well lived, now that you have baby number two, Giovanni, I think it's about almost close to a year now. Would you say you have gotten a lot better at doing this father, fatherhood thing?
Yeah, I've improved. I don't think I've gotten better, but yes, I've improved. There's been improvement. There have checks and balances, and yeah, there have definitely been improvements. Along the way, you just try out what works, what doesn't work. You throw out. You just you because people are different. People are not robots.
Yeah,
Basically, I've improved as a father. I've improved as a husband tremendously, tremendously, and I am happy for the person I am becoming.
yeah,
And I just thank God for the grace and for the opportunity to be around people that enabled me to become that kind of person. So is the question more of what do I feel like a life well lived means to me right now?
yeah, yeah. Like, what does it mean to you now that you've overcome, of course, the part of first-time father at a young age, and you've overcome how am I going to do this, and you, of course, now 3 years down the road, there is baby number two. Would you
Yeah.
say it's a more fulfilled kind of life now that you have mastered certain aspects of it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A life well lived to me simply means that right now I get to spend more time with my family. To me that's everything. Just being present, just being there. Just being around. Just,
Mm,
you can start from there. You might not do so much, but start from being around. Let them see you, know what's happening, know what's going on, know what your people are going through at home. Fathers, I grew up seeing some men in my life running away from home. They leave 5 a.m. in the morning, come back 1 a.m. in the night or in the next morning, never home. Things have changed for some of
mm,
those people. Yeah, they have transformed into better men. So I feel like presence is big on our children, and for me to feel like I'm doing the right thing is the amount of presence I have for my family. Just
yeah,
being around, taking turns to make breakfast on weekends, taking turns to sleep with the baby, and make sure my lady gets enough rest in the night, and things like that. Just being more intentional and being in touch with your immediate family, because if you're not in touch with your immediate family, how do you get in touch with the people outside? Then you're just a hypocrite.
yeah,
It has to begin from home. It has to begin
yeah.
from home, and basically putting having this knowledge and my experiences and imparting them on my family,
Yeah, yeah,
in bits and slowly by slowly into my wife, into my brothers, into my kids. And for me, that is a life well lived, being able to transfer my knowledge and my experiences to help these other people get better and see the light, and get onto the journey of improving themselves, really. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. I like what you've said about and maybe there's a word that you used earlier on called domestication, and I imagine you mean that the narrative that has been laid before us, maybe by our parents and all that. The next part of this segment, I'm interested in understanding where the balance has been for you. As a young person, we are in times where, when you look at, for example, if you're staying within Kampala, you need to have like a certain amount of money. But when you look at the statistics of the country, as generally, there isn't enough money being paid out to people. The average amount of money that someone is paid is very, very low. I'm wondering how you've been able to balance that. You're still young, you probably don't have a lot of resources and money and all that. You have two children, at the same time, you have a job, and at the same time, you're improving, because these are some of the things that I think young people fear to engage in because they don't know how they are going to do it with the resources they have. Someone might assume that perhaps you're coming from a family of resources, that you have been able to accomplish all this. How have you been able to balance the two, the personal life, the professional life, with everything that we have just thrown in between there?
Well, first and foremost is, once you get on this journey of self improvement, it makes you a certain kind of person that really starts to attract. You might not have resources, but you attract people with resources. That's one thing I've learned. Yeah. This journey has made me a person that attracts people with resources. So I will not say I struggle, because I'm not struggling as per the book we are reading with
You're not struggling. That is
my
very
partner.
good.
My partner might be somewhere. My accountability partner might be on this call. I don't want to answer questions tomorrow morning. So I'm not struggling. I am thriving. Yes.
Amen.
And, for those that don't get it, we are reading a book called The Four Agreements. And the first chapter talks about how you create an agreement by the words you speak. So yeah, I'm not struggling. I am striving. All right.
All right.
Striving. I
Awesome.
am right. So yeah, first and foremost, like I said, becoming the person I am now has helped attract people with resources into my life, people who can trust me into my life, people who can give me a hand into my life, because I'm dependable, I'm loyal, I am disciplined, I live up to my word. Steve, how many times have I let you down? If I say I'm gonna do something, how many times have I not done the thing I've said?
Yeah, man
You
of
know,
his word.
it becomes hard, and once you start this journey, even when you don't have resources in the beginning, somehow people will find ways of helping you. People will find ways of giving you knowledge. They might not give you resources. They might give you knowledge on how to do things. I have there's a company I opened up last year, and I didn't have resources to start the company. I just called my friend in the US, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my plan. This is my vision, and this is what I need. And I was like, all right, send your account. Just like that, just like that. I didn't have to show him numbers. I didn't have to prove anything to him. He just believed in me. He just trusted in my word. And just like that, resources come your way. So when it comes to balancing resources, especially being a young father, you might not be a father, because it's really hard for everyone out there. Father, non-father, it's crazy out there. Start with being the kind of person that is dependable. When it comes to my personal life, my business life, my family life, how I balance all things is, one, I've set boundaries. I set boundaries. When I'm at home, I am at home. I don't work at home. I don't work at home. When I'm at home, it is strictly family time. All right. Sometimes my workmates, if you call me and I'm already at home, I might not answer your phone, depending on how we do it, like on how I know you. I might not get your call. So basically, when I'm at home, it's strictly home. When I'm at work, I check in time to time with home, but I'm not so much concerned with what's happening at home. I'm focused. I'm at work, so I've set some boundaries that help me, be efficient in all these areas that I am in. Maybe secondly, I would say that focusing on me as a person has helped me be more efficient, in that's why I don't need to do things at home. I try to do things at work. I don't carry work to my place. I don't carry things I should have sorted home to my work. I make sure every other place is sorted, and everything is moving on smoothly. Maybe the third thing would be, I've tried to align my personal life to my professional life. I don't know if that makes sense. Like somehow things fit in, just like a chain. You know, I don't feel, when I'm at work, I don't feel so much like I'm away completely from home, because I've aligned what I do to my overall vision. So when I'm at work, my mind registers I am doing something that fits into my grand scheme of things. So it helps me focus. I don't feel like I've left this out, I've left that out. And basically aligning your vision is one of the biggest things that young people should do. You should align your vision. You should align your profession to your personal life. They should be meeting somewhere. There should be some things you're doing at both places. I journal when I'm at work, I journal when I'm at home. I pray when I'm at work, I pray when I'm at home. I have a to-do list when I'm at work, I have a to-do list when I'm at home. So that when I switch from different environments, I don't feel a separation. I don't feel like, oh my God, now shit, I'm back at office. What do I do? It's there are systems I've put in place that help me, sort of have a balance of life.
Mm.
Basically, those systems have carried me a long way, and I'm just looking at strengthening the systems, and yeah, and just sticking to the plan. Yeah.
I like that we have mentioned system. If there's any one takeaway that for me personally that I will take, so to speak, is the part of having systems for your life. And actually, the answer that you have given for balancing, I really like it. Perhaps I should practice that more in my life, where you separate what is work and what is family time. I don't know, many people don't even do to-do list, but even me myself, I should be definitely get into the habit of having a to-do list. When I'm at home, these are some of the tasks. When I'm at work, these are my tasks. So, guys, for those on the call, if you have any questions for Eddie before we conclude this call, now will be the time. He has really poured his heart out to just share with us how his experience has been on this journey. If you have any particular question for him, now would be the time. But in the meantime, as those questions come in, Eddie, I would like for you to give us our final parting shots of, and here the question will be, how exactly are you? What are you looking forward to? Like looking ahead, what does that look like for you?
Looking ahead, I'm excited about the number of projects that I've started, and I would say a big reason to for me to start these projects comes from self awareness that I have attained from, again, the journey. All right, I need people on this call to understand that I am who I am simply because I chose a certain type of journey with a certain type of group of friends, and that has helped shape me into the person I am right now. And for that matter, therefore, I have started a number of projects that I'm really hopeful for in the near future, that will really reap for me. I'm excited to see the kind of person I turn out to be, and the kind of children that I raise. And basically, I'm just excited about life. I'm just excited about life and what it holds for me. Life is an adventure, and I no longer take things personal. Again, coming from the book, The Four Agreements. By the way, that is my best book. That
Yeah,
is my favorite time book. This is my second time reading it. I last read it 2 years ago. It shifted my mind. So not taking things personal. Just because my bank account says zero, I shouldn't take that personal. Shouldn't take that, simply means I'm not doing the right things at the right time
yeah.
with the right people. you
Pivot.
know
Yeah,
yeah, like, don't take things personal because I have no car. I shouldn't take things personal. You just, come on,
yeah,
think open-minded way. Think in an open-minded place.
yeah,
And I'm really excited to see how we take this, how we roll, how we develop as adults, real.
yeah,
uh I, I I just want to see where this thing called life takes. I'm
yeah,
here to enjoy it all the way, to enjoy the losses, to enjoy the challenges, to enjoy the wins, and to just be there for my people, be there for my community, and for my friends. It's gonna be amazing.
Awesome, awesome. A question came in here from Rhoda. What advice can you give us who are starting out in life on the journey of personal growth? I think Rhoda, Eddie has answered a bit of that question through this whole story. But maybe this one, Eddie, you can answer it. What sacrifice have you made so far to get where you are now? You just maybe list one or two. Like if you can look at
Basically,
the major
the
sacrifice.
sacrifices are, one of them is the friends I used to hang out with that never aligned with my vision. I didn't cut them off. I don't believe in cutting people off. I just no longer give them my time. I no longer give them my energy. So basically, the company I keep around myself are people that align with my vision. All right. I have some of my best friends that I called best friends, and they're no longer in my life. Not because they were not bad people, but simply they were on a different journey, and I respected that. I have to save my energy for people that give me back energy, people who refill my cup as I refill their cup. So basically, one of the sacrifices I've made are, just stay away from family and friends that do not serve my purpose and my vision in life. And well, that could be one of them too. And maybe, you really have to be able to give up your bad habits, your addictions, man. You really have to be able. You have to be ready, man. There
Yeah,
is you can't be entangled with all that nonsense. They'll always drag you back. They'll always pull you back. You just have to make up your mind and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm heading, and life would be beautiful. 1 year can mean so much for you. Just 1 year like this can mean so much for you and turn the tables around for you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping that this year will be that year for everyone on the call. Eddie, I can't thank you enough. This has been an amazing year. There are parts of even your story that I didn't know about. I have understood you a little bit different from how I know you personally. Guys, for those who are on the call, please let's give a shout out to Eddie. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I've learned a lot from you, everything that you've been able to accomplish, and I'm rooting for you that you are on the right track. At least I know personally the story that you have led and where you are now. I'm proud of everything that you have achieved. So, guys, this is Edgar Agaba. Edgar has a business, Vistra Capital, and also he has very many other ventures as well. He is in the same Bora Watu group. For those who are not yet in the Bora Watu group, the links are in the chat box right there. This is where you get to meet people like that. And of course, Eddie has already illustrated that the type of people that you're hanging around, the conversations that you're having, are literally programming you and having an impact on your life. So if you're looking for a space where you can congregate and share ideas with people like Eddie, we are not, Eddie, I'm sorry, we might not do adverts here on the call, but for anyone that is rich, you might need to speak to you personally. I'll give them your number. If you're not in the group, just join the number. And of course, the book that Eddie talked about is a book called The Four Agreements. Okay. Now, The Four Agreements is a book that we are currently reading in this book club called Bora Reads. And again, for those who are struggling with reading, I encourage you, find a group of people who are better than you. Me, I always advocate for find people and copy them. I don't mind copying. Almost all my successes have been find someone who's good at something and copy what they are doing. They move
Yeah.
like this, you move like that. So currently we are reading a book, just Eddie has just talked about, the Four Agreement, a very small but amazing, amazing book. So if you're struggling reading by yourself, just get a group of people and read with them. And of course, on this journey, Eddie has also emphasized the advantage of being mastered at self. Okay, knowing the identity that you're coming from. And I like, Eddie, that you use the words domestication. Domestication, it means that someone has programming, but from the environment that has been imposed upon them. But everyone else here is above 18 years. You are an adult. You have the chance to actually reprogram yourself. We have a program here called Take the First Step, Finding the Right Direction in 3 weeks. It's a self mastery program where we go into mindset, money, communication, all the way to self improvement. The things that Eddie is talking about right now are the things that we handle in this Take the First Step program. And currently, we are running cohort 3. We are going to begin on 15th March. If you're interested in this, please reach out to us and we shall give you more details. But otherwise, Eddie and everyone on the call, thank you very much for making the time this evening. And for those who want to listen again to the recording, will be provided. Eddie, I can't thank you very much, and we hope to meet again and talk more on the group. Otherwise,
Pleasure
I
was
would
all.
like to wish everyone a good evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.